Hello, friends. Welcome back. It's Monday, October 6th, and I'm Joe Felly behind the mic with some thoughts to myself out loud. I want to start today with a little gratitude. My wife and I just celebrated our 41st wedding anniversary this weekend, and it was a good time. It was a blessing. Friday night we started with a hibachi dinner, and then Saturday, we went fishing in the what they call the Barren River in Glasgow, Kentucky here, and we actually went out on just a charter boat to catch some crappie, and it's Barren River charter, and a guy there named Jeremy Colvin. If you guys are in the area and you want to charter a boat out and catch some fish, be sure to give him a heads up. After fishing, we went to a fantastic little diner called Napoli's. And it's not a diner; it's an Italian restaurant. It was absolutely amazing. See Alex there, and let him know that I sent you. He was everything was just as an Italian guy, I get really nervous about going to Italian food places. For me, it's it all falls under like maybe the Fazoli's or the Olive Garden, and which either one I'm not really a fond of. But this one, I found that if you go to an authentic Italian restaurant, usually the ambiance is a little too dark, or the food's a little off, or the prices are just ridiculous. But I went in there and the ambiance was nice, it was comfortable. The food prices were respectable. They were there, they were good. Not too much, not too little. You don't want to pay $3 like Fazoli's. It's $3 for a spaghetti dinner, but you're going to get what you paid for. But it was good. And so Saturday we had a nice dinner. We had a nice day of fishing, and then we wrapped it up with a dinner Thursday or a Sunday night. We wrapped it up with a dinner theater show at a place called Derby Dinner Playhouse in Indiana. Good food, good laughs, and of course, even better company with my beautiful wife. So I'm reminded that in a world full of noise, showing up for the people you love uh, is the most important kind of leadership there is. Is the most important thing that you can do is show up, and this is what showing up looks like. And so, uh, just being there. Not only and I was not only there for my wife, but of course my wife has been there for me for the last 41 years, and that's what it's about. Showing up, not just being there, but actually in getting involved and voicing out and participating in something that's important. Now, today's headlines are heavy, right? I mean, it's important that we stay focused, we stay motivated during the headlines and what's happening in current events today, because if we're not careful, we can get wrapped into the negativity. We can get wrapped into the frustration. We can get wrapped into the infighting of government and infighting of family and infighting of everything going on. So it's important for us not only to stay motivated, encouraging, but also to stay positive during this time. So I'm going to do that, but in doing that, I'm also going to share with you some thoughts to myself out loud. Again, as if you've listened to my past podcasts, you know that you may not agree with everything I have to say, but I will not, absolutely will not disrespect, disenfranchise, or knock you down for believing the way you do. Okay? Today we're going to talk about leadership, accountability, and the quiet strength of community. From Washington to Clarkson, from the WNBA to the Western Kentucky Parkway, we've got stories today that deserve more than a scroll. They deserve reflection, so let's get into it. So we're on day 6, being the 6th of October, it being Monday. We're almost a week into this thing of the federal shutdown. Now the federal government shut down, and so lawmakers, including a few from each party. I didn't hear a lot from the left hand side. Of course, it's my personal belief that this is being orchestrated by the left hand side. They're holding out. They are holding out because of there's some lawmakers on both sides that have decided they're gonna go ahead and they announced that they're refusing their pay during the shutdown, and I think that is admirable. I think that is the way to go, because here's the deal: if the government employees aren't getting paid, if the military is not getting paid, if you're talking about holding off, it's harder to hold Americans hostage when you put yourself in there too and say, "Listen, I stand so strongly about this that I will give up my pay until this happens." But they're not doing that. They're not doing that at all. What they're doing is they're saying, "I'm going to hold off your pay and let the American people suffer until you say uncle." That's what they're doing. Like it or not, that's what they're doing. Agree with it or not, that's what they're doing. And that's not, listen, refusing pay during the shutdown is an admirable thing to do. It's a great gesture. But you're still getting perks. There's still things that are happening that it's something. It's a step. But let's be honest, it's not a solution to the problem. Federal workers are either furloughed or working without pay. National parks are closed. Small businesses that rely on federal contracts and are holding their breath because they don't know what to do. They don't know what the future holds because they don't know there's no end in sight here. This can go on for months or weeks. And hopefully it just goes on for maybe a couple more days. I heard somewhere that if it's done by the 8th, that the military will get paid. So I'm hoping that it gets settled by the 8th. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the 15th, uh, there's a lot of service members that get paid on the 15th. So in order for them to make that deadline or make that payday, because there are military members that are um, counting on that 15th paycheck. As a retired military person, I can tell you my bills were waiting on the 15th for that paycheck. And if that doesn't come through, there's going to be military families that are going to suffer because they're holding out. Symbolism has its place. Don't get me wrong, but service is what we need right now. Leadership is not about optics. It's not about what you see or what looks good. It's about outcomes. And right now, the outcome is uncertainty. We need grown-ups in the room. We need grown-ups to take care and maturity and stop this petty infighting. We need compromise, and we need to remember that public service is about the public and not politics. This isn't about just getting reelected or making your constituents happy or the people that voted for you happy. This is about the heartbeat of what the country is and what's good for the whole country, not just for your section of the world or your ideology or the people that agree with you or the it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me how less than 13% of the nation that have a certain ideology like socialism can hold the whole government hostage like this. It's just amazing. So there's a call for them to do something, but there's also a call to us. And we need to realize that voting, that elections have consequences. Just like I think Obama said it. Uh, we won. And so, and I hate to put it like that, but let's compromise. This is not a compromise. This is a standoff. And this is not going to end well if nobody gives in. And the Republicans already said they've got nothing to give in. Now, I've mentioned it on the last podcast. 13 times they have passed what they call a clean bill. Okay, and all this is just until they come up with an agreement. This is what they're going to run the budget on. No fluff, no stuff, no secret handshake, no 300,000 pages to read. This is a clean bill, and 13 times the Republicans agreed to it during the Biden administration. 13 times the Republicans said, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. It's not going to hurt anybody. There's no fluff, no stuff. Let's just go ahead so that way we can keep the government running. This time, AOC and the socialist portion of the Democratic Party has said, you do that, Democrats, and we're going to hold your feet to the fire. And obviously, they have some kind of clout because the Democrats are holding off. The Democrats do not want to mess with AOC for some reason. And so I hope, as if you're listening to this, this is absolutely the Schumer shutdown. Absolutely. And the media can blame Trump all they want, but when the Republicans, when the GOP, when the conservatives say, "Hey, all they have to do to move on, they don't have to admit defeat. They don't have to agree to drop everything. All they have to do is to do what the Republicans did during the Biden administration and agree to this clean bill just so the budget can get passed." But no, they refuse to do that because they refuse to compromise. Overseas, there's it's a sliver of hope, not much, but anything at this point, just like the negotiations with the shutdown, anything at this point is something. And so negotiations are underway in Egypt after Hamas and Israel agreed to parts of President Trump's 20-point ceasefire plan. And so the deal includes a prisoner swap and a potential Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. But even while these talks begin, the violence hasn't stopped. Over 30 Palestinians were killed in less than 48 hours. Families are displaced, children are out of school, and trust is hard to come by, and you can't just blame the Israelis on this because I can't even tell you how many times that the Palestinians have been given a ceasefire and then just bomb the crap out of the Israelis. So you can't blame them for being a little shy this time. But then again, peace comes in two sides. It's got to be both sides. The peace isn't just a political goal, it's a moral one. It requires courage from both sides. Showing up in a context means showing restraint over revenge. It's dialogue over destruction, and it's not easy. God, it's not easy. If it was easy, it would have been over already, but it's not easy. And this is why it takes, just like the government shutdown, it's going to take somebody to stand up and say, enough is enough. I'm going to take the first step. We are sacrificing other people's lives. We are sacrificing other people's well-being. It's not easy, but it's absolutely necessary. And this, my friend, is what showing up looks like. When you say, okay, I believe heartily in this. This is my heart. This is my desire. But let's come to an agreement because lives have got to be saved. The bloodshed has got to stop. And this one-sided rebellion, this one-sided hostage taking has got to stop. Meanwhile, in Oregon, a federal judge has blocked the president from sending National Guard troops to Portland, calling the claims of unrest unfeathered to the facts. One of Trump's charges, one of his promises, was to do something about the crime and about the lawlessness that's going on in America. Now, it's not just going on in these liberal cities, but these liberal cities are the ones that are Chicago and Detroit and New York and Portland. These are places that there is no law and order right now. And because of that, there needs to be some kind of step in. And Obama has done it. Eisenhower has done it. Presidents have done it in the past, where they call up and take over the National Guard, and they commandeer that authority under the Constitution. And if you think what he's doing is unconstitutional, then you need to read the Constitution, because he has precedented right to take over for the National Guard and put them in place in Portland and anywhere else. It's about federal authority, local control, and the balance between order and overreach. And in my opinion, now this is just some thoughts to myself out loud. In my opinion, the one overreaching here is not the White House. The one overreaching here is that federal judge. Because let's be honest, even a federal judge, they have a state Supreme Court. They have a governor. These people need to get involved if they're going to get involved, not a federal judge. Again, conservatives believe in law and order, but we also believe in the Constitution. And when a judge says the facts don't support the action, we have to look at that, but we also have to say, what are you not looking at? And let's keep in mind that this federal judge was appointed by Biden. So we have to question whether or not this is an actual legitimate thing. We just can't take their word for it. And if there isn't proof, this is what I have to say. If that's what they want further proof, we'll give them further proof, because it's there. It's absolutely there. And if it wasn't there, then maybe the actions aren't warranted, but they are. I believe they are, especially when you're talking about places like California and Chicago, where I will not go to Louisville, Kentucky. I will not go to Louisville, Kentucky, because it's absolutely horrible. There you have a liberal mayor, and we have a liberal governor. It's lawless there in Louisville. They're getting away with things that normal people cannot get away with. And it's ridiculous. And honestly, something needs to be done. Washington, D.C., you have people actually thanking people, the ICE agents and the agents that are going in, the National Guard that are going in, and demanding peace, and that are getting law and order back. They should be happy about this, but they're not. And they're not, because it's about control. And they're afraid their toes were stepped on. And to me, that's absolute horse crap. It's time to put our ideology aside. It's time to put our personal feelings aside. It's time to put our pride aside and put America first. Showing up, respecting the rule of law, even when it challenges our own preferences, even when we feel it might be injustice, or we might feel that it goes against some way or another. The rule of law is the rule of law, and just to not like what's going on because of the man's political stance, or because you don't like him in general. I am of the absolute belief that it could be anybody that has red, or that's a Republican, or that's a conservative. It doesn't matter. And that's not the way to run a country. That is not the way to run a country. Just because you're a Democrat doesn't mean that you know how to run a country. Here's the deal about me. I will vote for somebody that's a Democrat if they have conservative views. I just will. I'm not going to hate them if they don't. I'm not going to wish them death if they don't. And that's the problem we're having today. That's what showing up is. Showing up is respecting. And I went through this in the last podcast, and I believe podcast 3, about the freedom of speech. The freedom of speech goes 2 ways. And we have to respect both ways. We don't have to agree with it, but we have to respect it. Showing up means to respect the law. Whether you agree with it or not, you have got to respect the law. That's the kind of integrity our country was built on. Let's talk about integrity in sports. Let's talk about Mark Sanchez. Do you know this guy? This guy, I felt bad for him when I first heard about it, but then I started reading more about it. More started getting out about it. This guy's an absolute tool. So the former NFL quarterback and Fox Sports analyst Mark Sanchez is facing serious charges after a violent altercation in Indianapolis. According to reports, Sanchez assaulted. Listen to me. He assaulted a 69-year-old truck driver who defended himself with pepper spray and a knife. Sanchez was hospitalized with stab wounds and now faces felony battery charges. Now this is a sobering. This guy was drunk, and now I don't know exactly what happened. I know that he was drunk, and something happened. It was a road rage incident. Now this is a sobering reminder that fame doesn't exempt us from accountability. We've seen too many public figures like the rules don't apply to them simply because of their fame, simply because of their position. But guess what? They do, and they should. They absolutely should. Because this is what standing up or showing up looks like, okay? Showing up means owning your actions, especially when they hurt and involve others. And for those of us watching from the sidelines, it's called to raise the bar on what we expect from our leaders, our athletes, and absolutely our role models, especially for our kids. Especially for our kids. Because you had better believe when I see Mark Sanchez on a TV, I'm going to tell my son, who's still getting raised by us, I'm going to tell him, this is what you don't want to do. This is how you don't want to act. Because even though you're famous, even though you're a celebrity, even though you're well known, you have got a certain part, a certain measure of accountability, a certain example that you're responsible of taking. That's what showing up sounds like. That's what showing up looks like. The Nafisa Collier, I covered it last time in the podcast before about her calling out Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, choosing a league of having the worst leadership in the world. And I am absolutely on her side about this. I've seen Kathy Engelbert in a follow-up interview about the situation, about the remarks she made about the players should be on, they should be on one knee, thanking them for the media package that they've given them. Come on, man. Come on, be better, Kathy, be better. And sing about Caitlin Clark that her success is because of the league. Come on, man. Do better. Be better, Kathy. But no, because when she's asked about this, look it up. It's online. It's on YouTube. Look it up. Kathy Engelbert's response to these allegations or these remarks that she made. And she gets asked point blank, did you say this? And she did what any politician does, and it rips me off every time they do it. They don't answer the question. They go somewhere else with it. Trump does it. Schumer does it. Obama did it. They do it all the time, and it pisses me off because you know what? You're in leadership. You're the absolute commissioner. Answer the question, yes or no, and then give your backstory to it. Then give your reasoning for the answer. Don't go, well, there's a lot of misinformation going on. No. Did you say it or not? That's what we want to know. I'm not here to stir drama, but I'm here to say this. Leadership matters. And when the people are calling you out, you're responsible to give answers. It's time to listen. It's not time to go up and say, do you know this heifer had the audacity to say, I've been in business for years. Kathy, when's the last time you played basketball? That's what they need right now. They need somebody that knows what they're going through, not only to lead them, but knows what they're going through on the court. Because this is insane. This is insane. And she's absolute death to the injuries and the concerns of the players, and the injuries and the physicality of what's going on. She looks as the WNBA entertainment level. See, because before they didn't have the talent, and before the people that were watching were mostly watching, let's be honest. The people that were watching before were watching to see the physicality. And that's why I don't blame the refs. I really don't blame the refs right now because there has been no call to change. And now that they have talent, and I'm not just saying, and I've said this before, I'm not just saying because of Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark has brought, and anybody that says anything different is just being in denial. But you cannot deny, I'm not saying she's the best. I'm not saying she's the GOAT right now. She's not. I think she will be in time because she's brought light. She's brought an attention to the WNBA. I read an article that gave Kathy Engelbert credit for the newfound response, newfound attention to the WNBA. If you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you in Arizona. Kathy Engelbert is not the reason why everybody's watching the WNBA right now. She's just not. Kathy Engelbert isn't the reason why these players are on private jets. Kathy Engelbert is not the reason why these players are having more people come to their games. Kathy Engelbert is the reason why they're getting this media push and getting more games on TV and getting more games televised and ESPN, and these people are reaching out and actually bidding for this stuff. And it's not because of Kathy Engelbert. It's not. It's because of Caitlin Clark. It's because of Paige Beckers. It's because of Angel Reese. It's because of Kelsey Plum. It's because of Cameron Brink. It's because of these players that are going to play. They're there to play. They're not there to hack. And I think if they continue this and they don't do something about this physicality, one of two things are going to happen. You're going to have the good players either leave and go elsewhere, and there are talks about going elsewhere. There's talks about, Caitlin Clark has enough fame. She has enough clout in that profession that people are willing to back her in her own league. I've seen videos. I've seen people with money actually state that they will help, and they will help invest, and they will put in their money so that she could start her own way. Because this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Kathy Engelbert, what I was trying to say before, is more interested in the WNBA being more like the WE than the NBA. And it's absolute horse crap. It's absolute garbage. Showing up means protecting your players. It means respecting their voices and leading with humility and not ego. And that goes the same with the governors in these states that are getting Trump's sending National Guard and sending federal agents into these cities. And it's not about egos here. Something has to be done about the deaths in Chicago every weekend. Something has to be done about these players. Listen to me. Indiana fever, just Indiana fever. They had 6 or 7 players on the bench that were star players that were injured during play. Not because they didn't stretch, not because they weren't well trained, not because they weren't well prepared. They were hacked. They were elbowed. They were come on now. You've seen it. They were purposely hit. Thoughts to myself out loud. Here's some thoughts about a community morning. I live in Clarkson, Kentucky. Back home in Grayson County, a tragic crash on Western Kentucky Parkway happened this week. It claimed 1 life and seriously injured 2 children. The accident happened during heavy rainfall. The driver responsible fled the scene and later was arrested. Now, this isn't just a news story. It's a heartbreak because this kid was out of Hart County. It was an 18-year-old kid. It's a reminder that every one of us has a choice behind the wheel, and that choice matters. To the family affected, we absolutely see you. We grieve with you, and we hold a space for you for healing because we believe in a God that is there during your grief to give comfort and to give peace because this stuff shouldn't have happened. The driver, I guess, was going extremely fast in the rain, and the visibility was low, and they hit this car full of teenagers, and I believe one died, and two were uh, very critically injured. And so showing up in this means showing up means driving responsibly. It means honoring life, and it means making sure our roads, our hearts are safe for those we love. Listen, if you're not comfortable, and I'll tell you, my wife is not comfortable driving in the snow. And she's 50 something years old and she's driven for years. To this day, I drive in the snow. I'll drive her to where she needs to go if she's not comfortable. If you're not comfortable in driving in weather that's you're not comfortable with, have somebody else drive. Have somebody else take the wheel. Get an Uber, get a taxi, get a Lyft because it's not worth it. I don't know. I know this. I know his life has changed. I know the families have changed. And so let's use common sense. Also in Grayson County, a man was injured in a rollover crash near Cafava Road Sunday night. Thanks to quick action from the Grayson County EMS and fire crews, he did survive that. Let's take a moment to thank our quiet heroes, the ones that don't get a lot of recognition, and that's the EMS and the fire people and those that are out there during those accidents, during the rain, during the crashes, the police officers, the ones who show up without fanfare, but with faithfulness. These folks don't make headlines most of the time, only when they do something wrong. But they make a difference. And that's worth celebrating. Let's lift them up today. Let's lift them up in prayer. Let's let's take a moment to thank them. I thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for what you do because showing up isn't always loud. Today's stories, from the shutdown to sports, from courtrooms to crashes, all this point to one truth, and that is showing up is a choice. Showing up matters, and showing up is the difference between success and failure. Showing up is the difference between protecting and failing. And it's not always loud. Sometimes it's as quiet as an act of courage, a hard decision, a moment of grace, a stepping out, a laying down of your pride, a laying down of your ego, a laying down of your ideology, your desire, your passion, a compromise between what you believe to be truth and what you believe to be needed to be done. Whatever you're leading, a team, raising a child, or just trying to make it through the day, your presence matters. Whether you're a teacher or a policeman, an officer or a gentleman, a mother or a father, your presence matters. Your character, your example, whether you're a politician, a mayor, a governor, whether you just lead the PTA, showing up matters. And showing up, even when it's hard, is the first step toward healing, towards growth, and towards real leadership. If you have a platform on podcasting or on YouTube or on Facebook, showing up matters. We need to set the example. Listen, I've gone over on my time. Thanks for spending part of your day with me. If this episode has stirred something up in you, share it. And not only share it, let's keep the conversation going. Let me know how you felt. Now, I know you're listening to this and you may not agree with everything I've said. I'm hoping that you've made it this far so that I can get your comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think, okay? Because it's important. Because a one-sided conversation, although I'm not talking to anybody, I'm talking to you. I'm having a conversation with you. Let me know how you think or how you feel about this. What do you think the biggest part of showing up is? I'll be back soon with more stories, more soul. I'll be back hopefully on Wednesday with all that more strength. Until then, stay grounded, stay kind, and keep showing up. Okay? Because that's what matters. And that's what is important. And this is why I'm so thankful you allowed me to share some thoughts to myself out loud. In the meantime, God bless and be encouraged.